What's going on, guys? CT scanning, X-raying, unopened sports card products, TCG, cases, boxes, packs. It's all the rage now, guys. Shoutout Sports Card Madness. They interviewed Brad Kellis, as you can see on the screen here, of Industrial Inspection and Consulting LLC. And listen, I'm not here to talk about the ethics of scanning cases or boxes or packs. I'm not here to talk about this interview other than the fact that we now know the company that is offering the service. We know that this is pervasive. They mentioned in the interview that this has been going on for some time, but we don't really know for how long, by whom, at what frequency. It's very, very gray in the interview, but it has raised alarms throughout the hobby. And this is a topic that I believe is not going to go away soon. The fact that it can be scanned, the fact that people can see into these products and see what is in there really removes a lot of the confidence, I think, that consumers have had in unopened product. Loaded boxes. There's been accusations and narrative out there for a couple of years now that manufacturers were directing certain boxes to certain breakers for certain streams to be publicized for marketing. And a lot of people were wondering, how could that happen? Is it actually being done? And now maybe we know how it was happening. At what level have cases and boxes and packs been scanned? Have they been scanned at the manufacturer? Or are they being scanned by the distributor? Or are they being scanned by the LCS and the breaker? I don't know the answer to that. And I'm really not going to speculate on that. But I think what this interview and what the awareness of this information leads to is a complete state of paranoia for the hobby at the consumer level. And what is that going to result in? I think that's going to result in people being less likely, less willing to purchase unopened product. Now, that is not a good position for the hobby to be in, because the hobby is really driven by opening product. And if people don't want to do that anymore because they feel like, or they are suspicious or paranoid that anything they buy has already been scanned and somebody out there knows what's already in that unopened pack, box, or case, well, that is going to, I believe, reduce the desire to pay the unopened product pricing, the tax on knowing that there might be something good in there. I think we're in a new reality now. And I think that we're in a place where everybody needs to figure this out, from the card company to the distributor to the LCS and the breaker. So the card company, what can they do? Well, they can defend against scanning, line the inside of the packaging with lead. It doesn't seem very practical to me unless there is a technology that can do that, very thin and light. Potentially there's a solution for that. Or is the solution redemptions? Does every single autograph card, RPA, logo man, mem card, do they all need to now be inserted into the card, into the packages as redemptions? The hobby hates redemptions, but what does the hobby hate more? Redemptions or not being able to trust any unopened product? This seems like a step backwards as far as what a solution may be. If there's no way to defend against scanning from a physical nature, some layer that they can put inside of the packaging, and the only way to defend is to take the hits out of the product, maybe the whole hobby needs to go back to, or not go back, but needs to go to a situation where every card that has really any value needs to be inserted as a redemption. And boy, oh boy, is that ever going to take the fun out of opening product. And potentially, and hopefully and likely, there are other solutions that I'm just not smart enough to think about at the manufacturer level. Distributor, what are they going to do? What's a distributor going to do? Are they going to scan? they're not manufacturing, so they're going to have to come up with a different solution to really gain or regain the trust of the hobby. I'm not sure what they're going to do. LCSs and group breakers, what are they going to do? How are they going to assure the hobby that they are not scanning product before they sell it? Because they could open up a case, or they could open up a case, scan all the boxes, sell all the ones that don't have the case hit, and keep the case hit for themselves, open it and sell those cards publicly. I mean, that's the obvious plan when you are nefariously scanning product and then selling the worst of it to your customers, taking advantage of them. The paranoia and the concern that it has been and is going on now and will continue to go on is going to run rampant through our hobby. It's starting to already. And I think we're in a position now where we have to level the playing field. And how do you do that? And that's the big question here. How do we move forward as a hobby with the information and knowledge now that everything that is unopened, it has possibly been scanned or will be scanned and eventually sold off? You know, when group breaking became such a big deal in our hobby, everybody adapted. LCS adapted by taking on breaking as well. Card companies adapted by creating special breaker formatted products. Well, now I think that the breaker and the LCS is going to have to adapt to this new reality again, where I think trust is going to be lost. Trust in unopened product, I think, is going to be lost by the hobby from here moving forward. And I have a question for people. If you're listening, watching right now, and you have, been taking part in group breaks, randomized group breaks for the past several years, are you still willing to do that? Where do you stand right now when it comes to group breaks? Are you paranoid to the point where you're just going to take a break from them? Or do you trust the breaker that you're working with? And if you do, should you? And I don't know. I don't know the answers to these questions, but I think that this is the reality. So how do we deal with this? I think we have to level the playing field. And how do you level the playing field? Well, the only way to level the playing field is to make sure everything gets scanned. I say that's the only way. Maybe it isn't. I hope it isn't, but maybe it's the way. Maybe everything needs to get scanned now. So you go into a LCS or you join a group break, and the group breaker will list their particular break, and they'll say this is case number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're selling for $75 a spot, 30 spots to be randomized, and click over here to see the scan report, to see the video of the CT scan. Judge for yourself if this is a fair price that you want to pay. Or maybe they auction off the spots. If there's a big hit in that box or case and everybody knows that it's in there, the big triple logo man of the year, well, maybe they auction off the spots. And maybe that, maybe someone's put a bounty on that triple logo man for $1 million. Well, if we know that logo man is in there, does it not make sense that people would buy spots and maybe auction those spots, bid them up to a price where the total revenue on that case is, the value of that logo man, maybe a bit more, because, people will pay a bit more when you fractionalize it that way? And if that's the case, then what's the point in packaging these things out at all? What's the point of going through the LCS and the breaker? At that point, why wouldn't the card company go to direct to consumer, get rid of all the packaging? Think of the environment too. Think of the rainforest we'd save by getting rid of all the packaging. Maybe the manufacturer just goes straight to consumer altogether. I mean, the platforms are there. The platforms to do this are already there. Topps has one. Upper Deck has one. I'm guessing Panini has one. So I think that's where we're at, guys. I think, we know this is going on. There's a ton of content out there talking about this interview. There's a ton of content out there talking about the ethics behind this and who's at fault and who's been doing this. And I'll let everyone else handle that, and I'm keenly interested to hear who's been doing it, at what level, for how long, and how many customers have been taken advantage of along the way. It's not a good situation that we're in, but I'll follow that narrative along, keenly interested. But what's going to happen down the road? What does the future hold? Am I right? Are we going to get to a point where paranoia just takes over and you can't sell unopened product? Group breakers can't sell product anymore because everyone's paranoid that they're being taken advantage of. And if that's the case, how do we move forward? Does everything have to be scanned? Will we see, Industrial Inspection and Consulting LLC, their CT scanning machines? Will we see CT scanning stations at every LCS? Will every group breaker, before they, maybe we get to a place where somehow there are controls put in place to guarantee, I say that and I'm skeptical, but let's just play along with me, where we are guaranteed that the manufacturer and the distributor do not know. They do not scan and do not know what cards are in what boxes, packs, and cases. And if so, does that product then get pushed down to the last level of distribution, which is LCSs and breakers? And if so, then do those LCSs and breakers, are they simply extensions of the card companies, which it's kind of the way it's moving, and then they scan the product? Maybe they scan it live. Hey guys, we're going to break this case of this product now. Here comes the scan, everybody. Watch the scan. We're going to show you the scan once, and then we're going to start auctioning off the spots or selling the spots. How do they set the prices when they know what's inside? Is auctioning the spots the only way to do it? Will everybody be scanning everything? I have unopened packs of vintage hockey cards. Do I need to scan these now? I've got an 86 Fleer pack. Do I need to scan it to see if the Jordan's in there? I'll tell you, I don't want to know, because I don't want to know that it's not in there, because I have it as a relic, as a collectible. The pack itself is the collectible to me. So I don't want to scan it. Because I don't want to find out the Jordan isn't in there. It's more fun thinking that there's a chance it might be in there. But I already own the pack. I'm assuming it hasn't been scanned at this point in time. But this isn't about vintage single one-off packs and pack collectors collections. I don't think that's what it's about. This is about modern product with cards that are attracting bounties of $100,000 and up. This triple autograph of Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James that just came out. There's already a bounty on that, $100,000 bounty, and a Cards HQ experience. I mean, if the CT scanner could pick up that this card was autographed, because when you push down with a pen on a piece of paper, you leave an indentation. Now, this is not being offered. This particular card is not going to be packed out. It's being offered direct to consumer through the Topps Now website. Guys, what is stopping card companies from offering everything direct to consumer, completely cutting out the distributors, the group breakers, and the LCSs? And perhaps that's what they want anyway. And if so, they just found the best. They just had this new utopian situation for them handed to them on a silver platter by Brad Kellis and his company, Industrial Inspection and Consulting LLC, because this is great motivation for them to change their whole method of distribution. And this is not something that we, the hobby, want to see, because we love the experience of going to an LCS and opening a pack or a box or a case of cards that we don't know, that we and nobody else knows what's inside. We enjoy, the hobby in general enjoys the experience, the exhilaration of a group break, the gamble aspect of a group break, the unknown. So where are we headed, guys? Are we headed to is this the beginning of the end of the LCS and the group breaker? Is this the beginning of the end of blind, mystery random packs? What does this do to the repack business? Can repacks now be scanned? It's really interesting, guys. It's a really interesting development in our hobby. It's one where I do not envy the card companies, the distributors, the LCSs, or the breakers. I think they all are going to need to figure out how to deal with this. And I wonder if the end, where we're getting to with this, is that everything is scanned. There are scanning stations at LCSs. There are scanning stations at group breakers. Everything is going to be scanned before it's opened. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case, because otherwise the paranoia and suspicion that everything has been scanned and we are being taken advantage of as consumers is going to be a hard one to overcome. Guys, let me know what you think about this. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to think about as far as what the future of the hobby looks like, considering this new development. The fact that this information is now out there and everybody knows about it, or will in due course. What do you think the future looks like? And I know that some of the thoughts I've mentioned here may not make any sense. Is our scanning stations, is that a solution? Is everything being scanned the solution? Is the end of the LCS and Group Breaker, is that where we're headed? Gosh, I hope not. I hope that this can be fixed at the level of manufacturer and that they can find a way to defend against scanning. And I also think that they don't have time. They can't rest on their laurels. They can't wait to see how this plays out. If you're a card manufacturer, you need to figure this out before you pack your next big product that might have valuable RPAs in it. You need to figure this out right away. I think I can tell you it's going to be very difficult for me to pay for any unopened product moving forward right now until there is some solution, some plan laid out here. And gosh, this is not a great situation, but it is the situation where you guys let me know below what you think about this. What do you think? Where are we headed to as far as unopened product goes? Is this as big of a problem as I think it is? Because I think this is the biggest issue to hit the hobby almost ever. I think this is the biggest issue to hit the hobby ever. Guys, let me know what you think. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.